Aloha. How's everybody doing? I believe Phil is running a few minutes late. I also know that Boca and that sort of area was starting to have some of the effects of good old Hurricane Milton. So I'm assuming he's running a few minutes late. I haven't heard from him yet. Oh, well, he just tagged me in Instagram stuff, so he should be here any minute. This episode, which Snake and Stogies episode 219, it's brought to you by blackboxcages.com, Facebook, Instagram. Go give them a follow. Hop on over to blackboxcages.com, shop around a little bit. Speak of the devil. Get yourself a new rack, new cage, a little bit of both. A little of this, a little of that. Use the code THN24. Get a little discount. And then there is a pickup option available on the website as well. So if you are near around North Georgia, save yourself even more from the pains of shipping, and just go grab yourself all your goodies and then take them on home and enjoy them. Please give them a follow. We love their stuff. We talk about it a lot. We wouldn't have them stamped on the THN shows if we didn't fully believe that their products are fantastic and worth every penny. High quality. You'll like them too. And then once you've done that, you hop on over to fulviusapparel.com and get yourself a shirt, a hoodie, a hat, a mug, bookmark, whatever. So there's a giveaway. I'm drawing for it tomorrow. I kind of wish I'd picked tonight because then I could have done it live. But tomorrow night, I'm drawing. So if you have not entered into that yet, either on Facebook or Instagram, hop on over to the Fulvius Apparel page. It's got the post there that has all the entry things you need to do, and just follow those simple instructions, and you will be entered to win any 3 items of your choice from the Fulvius Apparel site. Shipped and all. You just literally tell me what you want. I make it and I send it.
You pick it, he sticks it.
That's right. You know. Might do a Halloween sale towards the end of the month. We'll see. It's been a while since I've done a sale. I try to do them like seasonally. So like I do like a spring sale, and then I'll do like a summer sale, and then a fall sale, whatever, winter with the holidays and stuff. So something will be coming down the pipeline. And then cold-blooded caffeine. Get that coffee, the good stuff. Stogies blend. It's that Mexican Rwandan heavenly combination that will keep you energized greatly, and it is delicious. All the cold-blooded caffeine offerings are delicious, and you should use the code SMOKE at checkout. You get a little something off. Me and Phil get a little something for it. You get some awesome coffee. Everybody wins. And everything's good. You have some inclement weather happening already.
Yes, I actually was terrified about our episode this evening, not for recording per se, but for the stuff that we'll be showing and talking about. I did not want to get it wet, but it looks like I've got a lull in the action right now because it has been monsooning for a fortnight.
Nice. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were still doing this episode. Is going to be I don't even know what edition we're on of the Dartha Lapis School for Kids Who Can't Read Good.
I love it.
AKA Billy's Book Club, even though Billy is not here.
Yes, he could not come. He had to work, but we miss him dearly.
So I grabbed my latest editions in preparation in case we were doing it, because I wasn't sure if we were still rolling with that or not. So
yeah,
you know how we typically like to do our new books. We all get new books regularly, and so we like to do our quarterly book episode. So here we are.
Yeah, I'm very behind in new books. Not new to me. I've got a good bunch, but new books per se, like new up and coming stuff. I'm very behind in that. New releases, yes. New publications. So the meager stack that I'm going to be presenting this evening is very dear to me on several levels. One of which I think I may have even shown before, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, I was kind of going through my stack too, and I was like, wait a second, I think I talked about that last episode that we did, and I was like, having to go through in my brain what we've covered, and I think the ones I was looking to add we had already discussed, so I left those out. But
yeah. And to be honest, I've been dabbling in other literature, and I was like, man, I should show some of that. And I was like, nah, it's not herp related. Nah. So, but we're good. I've got one book that I'm halfway through. I'll be showing, and I got 2 other books that I haven't even started yet. It's a very delicate process, very delicate. And no, for everyone who's wondering, I will not be evacuating. I am on the other coast. So I will be biding my time with this storm and seeing exactly what she does.
I don't know why I keep thinking Boca's on the Gulf side for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the southeast corner. I'm about 30 minutes north of Miami. So, and yeah, I already got my phone call from my fish and wildlife, my local fish and wildlife guy, and he's like, "Hey man, if you need help, let me know." And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm just biding my time."
What's he gonna do? Help you bag stuff?
Yeah. And I would, if I needed it, he'd
do
be
they
good
really?
about it. I mean,
do they all do that?
No, hell no. I mean, my investigator for my county used to be the Port Authority guy, and he knows about venomous species. He knows about venomous snakes. I don't know how much handling he really has, but like he knows protocol, procedure, the different species, because he's dealt with import export.
Boy, I'd be saying I need to see that you got your hours before you help me bag these things, man.
Yeah, right.
Play that reverse Uno card on their ass.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I can't let you do this. Maybe it's a test on their part.
Well, he's definitely checking with me. So, but yeah, I told him, I was like, look, man, I'm not leaving, and I'm gonna wait till the last minute to do anything drastic, because I don't want to bag everything if I don't have to. It's dangerous. The animals are all in a tizzy. It's funny, man, because the storm's nowhere near us, right? It's still off the coast of the Yucatan, but the winds and the pressure and everything is here. And like when I walk in
the outer reaches.
Oh yeah, which is crazy because it's like 3,000 miles away or something stupid like that. But yeah, I've been having crazy monsoon for the past 3-4 days, and it's so interesting seeing the different species and how they react to said conditions. For example, all the subocs are out basking, like just sprawled out, like
it's gonna rain.
They're like, it's gonna rain, gonna get myself wet. The North American colubrids are freaking the fuck out. My bigger colubrids are gonna have nose rub. They're just trying to get out of the vision cages, and corn snakes are doing laps. It's I feel bad for them. Like I wish I had a burrow to put them in. You know what I mean? The cobras, no fucks to give.
They're like, whatever,
just chilling. Like they don't care. The Gila monster is deep in her hole, which I think is interesting. She has not used that cave probably in about a year.
Really?
And yeah, she's just in there now. And I'm like, okay, well, she knows what's going on. And honestly, most of the smaller vipers, like the puff adders and stuff, again, the African stuff, they have no fucks to give. They don't care. But the North American stuff, it's either, yeah. So that's about it on my front. Anything interesting with you? I saw you had your last clutch hatch out.
I did. So I separated. I had 2 chondros together for the last, I don't know, month or so. Had a lot of interest via the mail pretty early on, and I don't know that I got any locks, but he was trying his best. And then things have been like, there's been nothing but radio silence from him and any interest in her for a couple weeks now. So I separated them, fed them yesterday, and probably within the next couple days I'll reintroduce him with the storm coming and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I gave them both fairly large meals, so hopefully that'll kind of help kickstart things a little bit, but we'll see. But yeah, good. I had that last corn clutch hatched. It was, I want to say 8 eggs, and there was 1 egg that did not hatch. And so I was like, okay, Everything else was out at that point. And so I was like, let me go ahead and cut it because I candled it. And again, I candled it and it didn't look like there was anything in it. So I was like, okay, let's see at least what was going on. And so I cut it, and lo and behold, there's a full term live baby in there still that just never came out. So I was like, okay. I left it, and it finally came out, and it was deformed. So it had like an underbite, and then it had one eye was bigger than the other one by a substantial margin. And so it was out of the egg today when I came home from work. And long story short, my male Leonis is no longer hungry. So
All right.
Katie's looking at me in absolute horror right now because
why?
She was saying I should just give it the old shoveling, but I don't know.
Well, I
felt bad. I felt terrible.
No, I know. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, look on the bright side, it was one.
It was, and it was. I thought about it because it was like, okay, if it comes out and it seems healthy otherwise, like maybe I can find a kid or a family that might want it. But then it was, give it to them. What if it doesn't do well? What if it's got more issues going on that we can't see and it just ends up rolling? And then those kids are, really upset about it.
Of course.
So I ended up putting it in with the male Leonis. He at first was very confused as to what was happening, but he was very interested in what was happening. And then I turned my back and turned back around. He had it wrapped up and was, doing his thing. So
good.
That is the first time I've had to feed off a snake ever.
Really?
I've never. I mean, granted, I haven't really had kings that were heavy snake eaters. So
yeah.
Yeah,
kind of think of it.
It really sucked. I did not enjoy any of it, but I was morbidly intrigued.
Sure. I mean, you did the right thing. And it went to a quote unquote good cause. Come to think of it, the only time I've ever fed snakes to other snakes was Ophiophagous stuff that really only eats snakes, whether it be kings or Asian corals or crates, stuff like that. And it was I think a handful of kings, and maybe some of the South American coral stuff. I fed some live stuff too, but most of it's always frozen thawed anyway. So it's difficult. But
it wasn't fun, but that's also sort of part of it, and that's I wish I had not cut that egg. I wish I had just left it until I knew for sure that it was done instead of cutting it preemptively. So
yeah, but you think it would have been? You think it could have corrected itself?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Not by what you described.
I don't think it would have been able to. Because everything else, like I said, was out like completely. Like all its clutch mates were out and stuff. And that one was not. That one had not been cut yet, like at all.
Yeah.
So
it happens, man.
I think it was supposed to. I think it was supposed to hatch in the first place. So it's my fault for doing that. Yeah, Phil's gonna be fine. He said he's straight. He ain't evacuating. He said, "Fuck that hurricane."
Yeah, at first they said it was. So right now, I guess it's a Cat 5, which is scary. But it's supposed to, I guess, be a 4 when it hits, and then immediately drop down. So I don't know. We'll play it by ear. I've got ample time, and we'll see what happens. That is the beauty of hurricanes, is having time.
Yeah, and those trackers and stuff, and the NOAA website, their predictions are actually pretty damn accurate, pretty much every time. So
yeah, for sure.
Tyson Dell said he asked John Lasseter about feeding Leonis baby corns. Lasseter said, "Why would you do that?" Tyson said, "I want a king to eat baby snakes like that, and Leonis is one I like." So, yeah, and I wasn't sure. So that male Leonis is the bigger one of the 3 I have that would have been able to eat that corn without any, major strain or issues. And I wasn't sure if he'd eat it or not, because to me, like gray bands, Leonis, Mex stuff, like they've never struck me as like heavy snake eaters, like your Getula stuff. So I was like, I feel like these two will also very quickly just become roommates and not actually food for the other. So,
yeah.
But he made quick work of it. I'm quick-ish.
Good.
And it's, it's taken care of now. I just feel bad because that thing's just been hanging out in the egg, and then it's finally out, and then look at that, another snake's around eating. So it sucks. It's just
nature,
it's
man.
not fun. It is nature.
I know.
It would have survived naturally anyways, but I also don't look at that argument because we're breeding him in captivity and there's nothing natural about it. So
yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. No one's taking it away from you. Just got to remind yourself that it was all the right thing, regardless.
Again, morbidly intrigued.
Yes.
I observed and was like, okay, cool.
Well, on that same note, because of the low pressure system, which by the way, I guess this storm is the lowest low pressure of any hurricane ever. So I was reading something about that. Maybe I read it wrong. Just the pressure's so low that it's just this massive monster finger of God storm, whacking the Yucatan as we speak. I threw my Fuscus together.
Did you?
And yeah, and so this is going to be the second legit attempt. They are going on 5 years old now, so they're like good. Man, it's crazy. 2018 to now. How long's that? It was like
years.
Okay, so yeah, so July of 2018 was their birthdays. Or June. So yeah, 6. Jesus,
dude, it goes by quick. It was like it was yesterday.
I know, right? Crazy. I know. The boys in shed, and I text Billy, and I was like, "What do you think, man? Should I put him in?" He goes, "Yeah, just throw him in there." I was like, "All right, cool." So they have a really great feed response, like scary, like king snake feed response, until they realize that there's no rat. And then usually what I'll do is I'll just touch their body and just pick them up out of the tub. And dude, sweet as pie, like never even tried to bite. So I checked the girl, she looks good. I checked the boy, he looks good, but he's in shed. So I pick up the boy and I put him in the girl's cage or tub. And he's like, "Where am I? What is this new smell? This is different." And he goes over and he sniffs her, like the side of her body, and she freaks, like another snake has touched me.
Yeah.
Boom, grease lightning, like a coach
That's
whip.
how
And I'm like,
the rhinos have been for me. Like that first time I put those rhinos together, dude, that female was like, hell no, like gone, doing laps.
Yeah. And I was like, man, she's never acted like this. Like legit thought she was a coach whip. And like I'm grabbing her and she's going, I have it on that like wheelie rack that I have my bottles and like my hooks and tongs and like the wheelie cart,
That thing's really cool.
Really cool, dude. And dude, she's up in the wires of it and all twisted. So like I'm not afraid of getting bit, but like I don't want her to react adversely and or hurt herself.
Right.
So here I am like noodling her through the metal wires of this wheelie cart. And finally I like shove her butt in there. And dude, he legit just sniffs her. Like he's not being a bad boy at all. He just sniffs her and she starts to burrow underneath the mulch like tremors, just doing laps of the thing. Like, get me away from this guy. I never seen anything like it with them.
First time female chondros, they have the same reaction.
Really?
It's immediately like run. And it's the same thing. It's like they barely touch them, or like that male just starts to kind of investigate a little bit and they're gone. So I don't know. That's why with first time females and sort of first introductions, if I'm not co-having stuff, I like to, maybe put a shed in with the females, or
I mean, I did that.
Do interactions like introduce the male, leave him in there, for a couple hours, maybe while I'm gone at work during the day, because at night things get a little more hectic because the chondros in particular, everything's food. So, I try to sort of ease into the leaving the male in long term, just out of personal preference again. With the rhinos, like once they realize that they're living together, they're completely cool, like no problem. But yeah, when that male first went in there, it was game on immediately. He was about it, she was not, and it was just chasing each other.
And that's what I think is interesting. So he wasn't quote unquote about it. He was just like, where the hell am I? What's going on? Like he was very out of his element. And so it wasn't as if he was, hey girl, what's going on? Come to this bar often. Like that wasn't the case. He was just like, hey, what the hell is this thing in my cage? Where am I? So I am going to be watching the clock as we do this. I'm probably going to step away in a little bit and go check them real quick. Just in case, because she was so squirrely.
I get those Wise cameras.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a tub, you know. I'm not
great for that, to be able to check in and stuff. And I'll leave them in if it's like a first time pairing with the green trees or something. I'll go back in the morning and watch to see if if there's any signs of serious lockage or something close to it as potential locks. Like use that as a good tool to keep an eye on things without having to go in and disturb them.
Well, it's also interesting because this is the third time that they've been together, and the first two times there was no reaction whatsoever. So I don't know. This is either a great sign or it's a horrible sign. We're gonna find out.
Well, I fed the Jants and I yesterday too.
Okay, and
they both, the male in particular, got so excited that he grabbed the female right behind her head and wrapped her. And so I had to grab him, and then I had to grab her, and I had to tap him to get him to let go. And then he finally did. And then the female's there, and she's like, as soon as he lets go, she's like back into food motion. She's staring at me, looking like she's about to take a swing. I got him in my hand, wrapped up, and so I'm like, it's just.
Thank God they're not venomous.
Yeah. And then I put the male back in, and then he decides that he wants to come out at me. And so I was like, wonderful. Meanwhile, I have like 2 rats that they've just completely ignored because they had grabbed him and wrapped him. And then the male came in and started going after the one that the female had. And so then there's like a big ball of Jansenii, which is a big ball of Jansenii because that female's getting big, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just, I was like, y'all are the worst. Because, of course, as soon as they're freaking out, they go into like the panic mode. They don't care about the food at all. They just want to run.
Oh, no.
They just want to take off. And so it's like now I got one that it does want food and is still interested, and then I have the other one that's like freaking out and trying to get out, and they're quick as shit. And it was an ordeal. But she's fine. I mean, she's got way more size on him, so I'm not worried about him biting her or anything like that. But
yeah,
I need to upgrade them. I think whenever the next black box order happens, I need to figure out what I want to do, because I want to do something for them. Like right now they're in I think it's a XA4. It's a 4-footer. And my idea has been to get another 4-footer and put that on top, and then somehow make a coupling that connects the two that in the future I can also seal off still, so I can have it as a separate enclosure if I wanted to.
Sure.
But basically make them 2 4-footers together, and then instead of having to get an entirely new one big unit, I can get another 4-footer and just convert it somehow or another. Maybe talk to Jen and Clint about some way to do that. Because I think that'll be kind of cool to have like a duplex of sorts. And
absolutely.
The upper part be, UV and basking and stuff, and maybe some live plants. And then the bottom part can be more hides and,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of the game plan at the moment. So
you could have a sliding glass door that is the size of, say, the screen area on the top. It's got like a little divot screened area, and have it slide from the front, with like a little handle, like kind of like I don't want to say a guillotine, but you know what I mean. And the top section is just branches, no substrate, because there won't be very much floor space. And then the bottom, you could fill it full of lush, jungly deliciousness.
And also the nice thing too is like you wouldn't have to necessarily even have them. You wouldn't have to have them coupling or portaled to where they're like connected. Like, because there's so much weight to those when you have stuff in them that you could just I could get Jen and Clint to just cut a hole in the bottom that's 4x6, if that. and then just leave that open, and then have like the same kind of panel that they have that covers the backs of the racks where you can access where the probe slots are that just screws in.
Yeah.
Just have them attach one of those. That way I can have something that if I want to use it in the future for something else, I can still close it. And then just cut a hole in the top of the existing one and figure out a way to do something along those lines with that. But I just think it'd be cool to have them.
Yeah, very doable.
So I need to figure out what the square footage or something like that would be.
Yeah, you figure a 4 foot by 3 8 like 4 by 5
roughly. Yeah.
That'd be cool, man. Be very cool.
Yeah. So other than that, the season is over. Everything's hatched. Incubator is turned off. It always goes by so quick.
Oh yeah.
And when you first start pairing stuff, you're like, man, it's not going to be till September that everything's said and done. And then September rolls around, and you're like, Jesus, where did it go?
I mean, I can't believe we're already in October.
I know.
It's wild.
It's depressing how quickly it all moves as you get older.
Yeah. Scary.
I got another tarantula over the weekend.
Did you, boy? Is your wife sitting next to you watching you?
No.
Oh, good, good.
She knows.
Oh, okay. What'd you get?
Costa Rican zebra, the Phonopelma simani.
Very cool.
I was Saturday. I was like, I'm driving out to Petco because Petco for me is like a 45-minute drive. So I was
That's
like,
where the pets go.
Ain't got nothing else to do. Let me go out there, see what they got. If they got anything new. And I wanted to pick up some feeders too because PetSmart here, they're almost always out of the smaller crickets and stuff. So I was like, if I'm going out that way anyways, I might as well grab some. And they had a green bottle blue, but they wanted like $150 for it. And they weren't running any specials. So I was like, nah. And then they had this Costa Rican zebra, and it was $50. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So
it's so crazy to me that Petco has unique stuff like that.
Petco has like legit. They have the one here has dart frogs now. Like they've got
really.
They've carried dart frogs as a chain for a while, but I haven't seen dart frogs in this one in a long, long time. But they had
that is not how it is by me, man.
Tinctorius and yeah, but they had, that's where I got the classy was that Petco.
Yeah, I remember that. But
yeah, so I talked to the lady and I was like, I had her show me like open up the thing with the green bottle because it was kind of hard to tell what size it was. There was a molt in there. And she was like, oh, this one's, it's supposed to look like this on the label, but it doesn't. And I was like, well, it's still small and you got to get them in the right light to really get that color. And
yeah,
she's like, it's in the trees. So this one's more arboreal.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, let me see that zebra down there. And she was like, this one's boring. And she's like, it's also not that pretty. I'm like, it's still small. It's like,
yeah,
maybe an inch. Like it's probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
Okay, it's got a lot of time to color up.
It's got some size to it. Like it's not a sling, but it's definitely not in its adult colors yet. But they also give them like the thinnest layer of orchid bark they possibly can.
Really?
So it's like, of course, it's boring because you're not giving it what it needs. Like those guys are burrowers, Like
yeah.
Granted, they can't give them a bunch of substrate because if they do that, they're never going to see it.
Yeah.
People aren't going to see it. They're going to be like, I don't want it because I don't know what's in there. So at a point, I understand, but you also wonder why a lot of their New World stuff has bald abdomens, and it's because they're freaking freaked out all the time.
Yeah.
They're exposed constantly. So
yeah.
Except that green bottle blue. That green bottle blue didn't give a shit. But it's cool. Set it up and it's already disappeared and burrowed and
good.
But I got those Centroroides margaritatis last week too, I think. I don't know if I talked about that when we had Jeff on or not.
No, I don't think so.
It might have been. It wasn't until I think maybe Wednesday that they came in.
That's Tuesday. Cool.
But
you get that from Petco too?
No, I got those off Morph Market.
Okay, cool.
it was like a buy 3 get 1 free thing. So,
do you have pictures of any of your new bugs?
Not of the Margar Tatas are so small that they're
just brown.
Yeah, they're tiny. They're only like second or third instars. If they were third, I'd be surprised.
Okay.
They're tiny. So, Simani are in pet stores and wholesale up here a lot, and they are. That's a species that was, and I believe still is, massively wild caught and brought in huge numbers because they're pretty common in their range. They have a pretty big range. They're not just Costa Rican. They go down into some of the other countries and stuff around and about too. But I don't know, man. Like this time around with inverts and stuff, I just have such a better appreciation for the stuff that I didn't before.
Oh yeah,
like
you're older, wiser. Yeah,
brackies and a phonopelma and stuff that before I was like, it's brown, it's not all that exciting, it's not that sexy, it's not an ornamental. But I'm like, you know what? It's the same thing with the snakes. It's like you got to have the stuff that's a little more stressful, a little more headache inducing,
challenging.
But yeah, there you go. But then it's also really nice to have the stuff that is just, you don't have to think about it. You can just enjoy it. Like
it's why we have corns, man.
So it's the same thing with the spiders. It's like the beginner species. Like this time around, I'm actually like, you know what? I think I want some of those. Like, yeah, it's not super expensive or fancy or anything like that, but it's still just cool. Like, they're just neat. So we'll see. But they're also Dave Fisher, who does the Dave's Little Beasties YouTube channel, which is really good. And I highly recommend people check it out if you're into spiders and stuff. He made a good point of Simani are in a very similar position that rose hairs were over the last couple of decades, where they were imported in such huge numbers that they ended up having to crack down on the amount that were being brought in. And because they were so common, no one actually took the time to really breed them and get captive populations going to where now, like, rose hairs they're not impossible to find, but they're definitely harder to come across than you were before. And he thinks that Simani are on the same track. So his big thing was pushing to, like, yes, it's a common species, but you still need to, like, there still needs to be people producing them, because what's common today can very easily disappear tomorrow, which I think we've seen that with plenty of snake species and stuff too. So
sure. I mean, think about it. If nobody bred bearded dragons, we wouldn't have bearded dragons.
Yeah.
That's just it. So, well, I'm going to run upstairs real quick and just take a peek, because it's been about an hour. Sure. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah, Pamphibedius are cool too. Nisurg is really into those, and Formictopus. That's his two big genre that he likes. I like the Pamphibedius. I don't have much of a desire to keep those. I don't know what it is. Like, they're cool, and I really actually do appreciate them. There's a couple of those varieties that I really do like. I don't know. They're just not. I appreciate them for what they are, but it's not something that I really have any desire to add to the collection. If someone said, "Hey, I have some and I need to get rid of them. Do you want one?" I'd be like, "Sure, let's give it a shot." Because I'm also at a point now where I'm seeing these other species that I never kept prior, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. Like, we're gonna try it out. I never kept any Aphonopelma, so when I saw this Costa Rican zebra, I was like, why not? Let's do it. These Margar Tatas are cool though. They got a lot of growing to do, but they're eating like champs. So trying to get them moving and growing and up to size, so I don't have to pre-kill stuff for them anymore, because they're so small now that even like pinhead crickets, I have to pre-kill them and then put them in there, because they're just too big for those things to be able to handle on their own. But I think the majority of what I have currently, I think even that Aphonopelma that I got over the weekend, I think they're all in pre-molt. I think my female striata is in pre-molt. I think my avicularia is in pre-molt. The classy, I never really see because it's still small, and when they're small, they're pretty secretive. They don't really get the confidence and hang out outside the burrow much until they're older. So that one I just have to periodically lift up the bark and check. But the plan for next year is I'm not planning on pairing any corns. I say that, but then I think, and there's maybe one or two pairs I might do, but for the most part, next year it's going to be the same old rhinos and probably Bairds again, because the one year that I've not done Bairds, I had a lot of people message me looking for some, so especially the Loma Altas, so those are probably going to happen again. And I don't think I'm going to have anything else up to size really outside of the corns and Bairds and rhinos. The Conicus Samboas still have some growing to do. The Andean Milks, obviously, those are this year's babies, so those aren't going to be happening anytime soon. I'm going to have more rhino females next year. I'm going to have at least one more. I'm going to be aiming for a third one. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that one up to size by that point or not. And then I have that massive male that I definitely want to pair, but I'm also kind of terrified that he'll try and eat whoever I put in with him, because he's gigantic. So I still want Jamaicans. Michael Gillen said I need some of those Puerto Ricans Rob just had. If I'm doing any of the Kylobothris, it's got to be Jamaicans. Yeah, Jeff said I've got plenty of animals up to size, but no time or energy to raise baby this year, and I get that. And this year was supposed to be a slower year compared to last year, and of course, I feel like I produced like the same amount of animals. And it never seems like it's going to be that many when you're pairing stuff, and then you get clutches, and you're like, wait a second. So I'm trying to get better about planning a little better and being a little more purposeful in my pairings, with the exception of rhinos, because the rhinos, I'm at a point now where I want to produce rhinos every year. I love them too much.
We're good.
We are.
The male is in the hide cave with his nose out, like, what the hell is going on? And the girl is behind the hide box, buried under dirt.
He kicked her out.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're fine. What'd I miss?
Nothing. Just talking about plans for next year as far as pairing goes, and doing Bairds again, because I didn't do any this year, and this year I got a lot of messages asking for Loma Altas and Bairds in particular. So the docket for 2025 is Bairds and rhinos, and then maybe there's like maybe 2 corn pairings I'm interested in doing, but I really don't need to. As it stands now, I don't need to pair more corns, unless it's a very like hyper specific project that I have to, just to keep the ball rolling.
Sure,
but sure. I don't think I really even have that going on. So Andeans are doing good. They're extremely shy snakes. Like if I go in there to try and take them out and play with them, like they're sort of the classic milk snake, spaz out, musk, and run, and so I'm sure they'll grow out of that eventually. But they're incredibly shy. They're very shy eaters. I definitely can't like tongue feed them. I gotta drop feed them and then leave the room.
Classic triangulum.
Yeah, but they're doing good. They're both have shed at least once. And man, every time I open those tubs, though, dude, I'm like, God, those things are gorgeous. Ugh.
How big are they now?
They're pretty much the same size as when I got them.
Okay. I don't know if they hit like a growth spurt yet, or
no, not yet. Okay. I think they both have had maybe like One of them has had at least 3 meals since Daytona, and one has had, I think, 2. I think it's the female that's being a little more finicky with food than the male is. I think it's the female, but one of them's definitely been a little more picky and choosy about food than the other one has.
Yeah, it's funny. The male wild rose that I got from Nemo, he told me flat out, he's like, "Look, man, I don't know if this is gonna be a deal breaker, but like it only eats live." And I was like, "Not a problem at all, man. Not a problem at all. I mean, more than half my stuff I feed live to." And he never shows interest. He doesn't look at the prey. He kind of looks at me like, "What am I supposed to do with that thing?" But I leave like a live hopper in there, and dude, it's crazy. Like he's like a ninja. I'll turn my back and that mouse will just be hopping around the tub, and then I'll turn around and he has it in his mouth and it's dead. Like he just kills it with his mouth. Like Smitty. I was waiting for Chris Sanchez to jump in there with something. Anyway, but yeah, it's pretty creepy actually. I mean, granted, he's an adult subok and he's not the biggest snake. He's still a bit weeing, but he's still an adult. And I'm only feeding him a hopper at a time, but he must bite it with such ferocity that it's breaking and snapping and crushing something, because he literally just sitting there with it dead in his mouth, like by the head. So fascinating observation. Well, it's quasi observation because I haven't actually seen him do it yet. But and thanks, Hunter, man. I appreciate that. I assume Smitty is getting his books for tonight's book club episode. I will be leaving the screen for each. Well, maybe I'll bring them all out at once, but I gotta get a towel or something because everything outside right now is just soaked, and I don't want these books, especially 2 of them are very, very old, quite older than I am, and they're a bit tattered on the jacket, if you will, much like myself and Smitty. So, but thanks for everyone who's still joining in tonight. We appreciate you guys immensely. The live chat, the post listens. We love you guys and we appreciate it. Were you procuring your books?
No, I had to pee real quick.
That'll happen.
But I do have my books if we're ready to.
I mean, if you'd like to kick the tires, light the fires, as Mike Kosicki would say, let's do it.
So my first one, and I kind of feel bad because my soul is completely converted over to inverts again. My first book was the Tarantula Gallery.
Very nice.
Image reference and species accounts. This is volume 1. It's got 50 species. It's by Danny de Bruin. He's South African, but
nice. Is that a Vegans on the cover?
No, it's a green bottle blue.
Oh, okay.
So I'm hoping, because this is volume 1, that there's going to be more coming out. But this was published, let's say, 2 or 3 years ago. Let me see, 2020. So
nice.
But it's pretty straightforward. Each page is dedicated to a particular species and gives a rundown as far as like breeding and
nice.
Captivity.
I'm going to need you to, obviously we'll put this in show notes because that's still in publication, if we can, but definitely send me that link because I'm going to pick that up. That looks fantastic.
It's good. It covers most of the major species that are being kept, except for Poecilotheria Hanuma villasumica, which very few people actually have because they're crazy endangered.
Can you say that one more time?
Hanuma villasumica.
Oh, you ruined it. Come on. You got it in you. Let's hear it fully.
Poecilotheria Hanuma villasumica.
God, that's great. Love it.
It's like 1,000,000 syllables long. You can see it right there.
Oh my gosh.
Villasumica. So it's a good book. It's worth checking out. I think it was like $25 on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. The photography in it is fantastic. Like, the guy did a really good job with them. Just a good little reference book. And
Yeah, I will say this, noticing just on Instagram alone, the macro photography has come leaps and bounds, I'd say, within the past 7 to 10 years, to the point where, dude, some of the most amazing photography on Instagram and Flickr alike is super high def macro bug stuff. And it's amazing to see, especially the arachnid stuff. Absolutely incredible. Well,
So
let me
that's my first round draft.
I like it. Are we going back and forth or
Yeah.
all right, let me put my headphones down. I'm going to grab a towel so I can dry off the thing next to me and bring the books out. Hang on.
I was freaking out because I had one Amazon package on my door. That's a mug order I have, and then there's supposed to be 2 more boxes of them, but those are coming tomorrow. So that's why I'm investigating. But yeah, it's unbelievable what people are able to get now, especially with the tiny stuff like jumpers and things like that. It's crazy. The paywall on a lot of that stuff has come down so much. Because that technology's moving way faster than so much other things too.
Okay. So my first book is also arachnid based.
Oh,
Yes. So I've been eagerly anticipating this book for a very long time, and I was, because it is again a South African book. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get it for a while, but it actually came on Amazon this summer. Our good friend Paul Besters in South Africa, who is a bona fide scorpion aficionado, he's been on Venom Exchange Radio. He's under the tutelage of a man by the name of Dr. Ian Engelbrecht, who is the leading authority of sub-Saharan species of scorpions, and has since wrote a book, Field Guide to Scorpions of South Africa by Dr. Ian Engelbrecht.
what?
So it is honestly just the scorpions of South Africa, not the southern continent, but this is just, I'm just going to open the book cover, just the cover.
Wild.
So like your spider book, it gives brief description, male, female, range maps, the huge. It is a field guide, but it's way more than that.
Does it cover any like the medical significance of some of the parabuthas and stuff, or
it does. So it gives like this little gauge on the side. Here, let me see if I can show you. Like,
so that when you get stung, you could look at that and say, "We're good," or "Shit, let's go to the hospital."
Exactly, 1,000%. Excuse me. It does cover taxonomic notes of, this used to be X, Y, and Z. Now it's this. This is why. It gives description, sexual dimorphism, distribution, habitat, behavior, similar species. It actually has a scale. Here, I'll see if I can show you, of a human hand, so you can know how big or small.
Oh, okay. I always wonder how they do that with accuracy. Like from a design,
it's a ballpark.
From a design standpoint, it's tough to make that happen and it be in ratio when you're doing something smaller like that too.
Sure. I love that it breaks down by family as well. So like Boothidae.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see the screen. Sorry, guys. Boothidae, excuse me. And like I said, it's a great field guide that has low-veld creeping scorpion, Opisthecanthus levips. Never even heard of that. Amazing. I have not read it cover to cover. I've just simply perused it and gone down memory lane with some of the species I used to keep. But again, it was like $27 on Amazon, something like that. And it's all in English.
What sucks is like arachnid stuff in comparison to herp stuff as far as books go. Like there's really not a lot, at least of modern, like current books there's not a lot of options when it comes to that stuff. A majority of what you can get is stuff that's a decade plus old, as far as like when it was published and stuff.
Yeah. Is that better for the brightness?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, the new dark background. I love the dark background on the streaming, but it makes everything I show super dark. But yeah, man, just a fantastic book. So
looks good.
Yeah. And we already have made arrangements to have Dr. Ian Engelbrecht on Venom Exchange Radio. It's just with international timing and scheduling. It will be soon. I promise you people, soon. So, and again, shout out to Paul Besters for even putting us on this book. If you're listening, Paul, we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was my only Daytona pickup, but this was one that was on my Amazon wish list for a really long time. And so when I saw it at the table, I was like, let me go ahead and grab that. Venomous snakebite.
Oh, nice.
Western United States.
I don't have that book, and I've always wanted to get that book, but it wasn't. How do I phrase this? It wasn't a priority book, if that makes sense.
By the late and great Manny Rubio and Daniel Keeler. But it basically is, talks about snakebite in the Southwest, and then goes over the different, not Southwest, but West, and then it goes over all the different species. But this also has timbers and cane brakes in it for some reason. I don't.
All right. Well, I mean, cane brakes go into Oklahoma and Texas.
Yeah, I guess they count to a degree. Specs, the usual suspects. Suspects. All right. Like the Oregonus complex. Let's see. Price Eye has a little toxicity meter, kind of similar to that. The Scorpion book.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Dangerous to children / unhealthy adults on the Price Eye.
Knock you on your ass on the Atrox.
Yeah, it's got Northern Mojaves at like a level 5.
Out of what?
I think 5 is the max.
Oh, okay, I was going to say.
Out of 50. Yeah, I haven't even really flipped through this a whole lot since I got it. See, the problem, again, like I've mentioned before, is like I buy these books and then it will be a long time before I really actually get to them and read them.
Yeah.
But it's got the Ridge Noses in here.
Nice.
The Sagas. So it's cool. It's a nice little book. It's got Western Pygmies in here too.
Excellent.
So worth picking up. It's got a Sonoran coral snake.
Hell yeah.
Texas coral snakes. And there's a section on natural history that talks about sort of rattlesnake biology and the like. So
very cool.
It is on Amazon. I want to say it was $20 or $25. Again, I saw it at the dude's table and went ahead and grabbed it. So
very cool.
Yeah, looks like it's a good one to have in the library. So
hell yeah, absolutely. Good coffee table read. Good bathroom read.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah. Lisa chimed in that she just ordered the Snakes of the Moluccas from Chimera Edition. Lisa, is that a white cover? Because I was going to get that. I have not got it yet because I have its companion, which is Snakes of the Lesser Sundas, which is also a white cover. I was thoroughly disappointed, not in the production of the Lesser Sundas book, because it's a white cover and it's awesome, but the fact that there wasn't that many species of snakes in there, and most of the data was extremely scientific. So I'm eager to see your synopsis of that, and if I should add it to the library. So
Next.
Okay, I can't remember if I talked about this one on air or not. It's a great little book. It's cheap, it's fun, it's informative. Dusty Rhodes talked about this book on Mike Pingle's podcast like 3 or 4 years ago, and saying that out loud just now, I feel like I've done this book on this show before, but Introduction to Horned Lizards of North America.
I think maybe
I don't remember.
I know of it. Like you may have told me.
Yeah. I think you and I talked about it, but it's by a guy named Wade Sherbrooke, California Natural Institute guides, and it's a field guide of every single horned lizard species. Again, opening up the front cover, it has a ruler with the different head patterns of all the horned toads.
That's really cool.
Trying to see around the screen. So there's the ruler and little silhouettes. I think this thing was like $8 or $12 on Amazon. It was fantastic. Again, it is a field guide, but it's got a ton of natural history. It's got the different types of vegetation.
Oh yeah.
Range maps. It's just a great little book. I mean, dude, look at this round-tail egg centerfold. I mean, how adorable is that?
That's awesome.
Super cute, man.
If ants were in the picture with those, I'd have some of those.
You know what it is? If I didn't have a collection, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I had 1 or 2 pet snakes and that was it, and I could dedicate a big 75-gallon fish tank with the ant deposit thing in the middle and like do it upright, it would be awesome. But it's just too difficult to have as a normal schmo like myself.
Yeah.
There was one other thing I was going to show you in this book that I thought was super cool. See if I can find it. Has a whole section on the blood spraying and dorsal markings and egg development, and then here it is, of humans and lizards. So it has a whole section on Native American folklore with the horned toads and statues and all that. So again, really cool little book. You know, stuff it in your luggage on a plane, take it with you places. You know, ceramic pottery design of horned lizards from the Mata Ortiz, Chihuahua, Mexico. You know, pottery shards and pottery pots, and just a cool little book, man. And like I said, it was like $12 on Amazon.
Jeff asked if I have Pythons of the World Volume 3. I don't. I was that same table the guy at Daytona had. Volume 1 and 2, or one of the two. I don't remember, and I contemplated it. But he had so much stuff there that I wanted. That guy's always got just an awesome selection. But I do not have either any of those Pythons of the World books. But my next pick. See if I can do this without avalanching. Trying to get the smaller, lighter ones out of the way before I get to the tomes.
Yeah, exactly. Save the tomes for last.
Going back.
That's cool.
Scorpions of Medical Importance.
Ooh.
So this is one that I thought was a semi-recent release, because Amazon was like, it was published in like 2018 or something. And then you go and look, and I think it was a rerun. This is the print-on-demand edition, I think is why it is, but copyright is 1980.
Okay.
So a lot of the information as far as the actual envenomation information of the different species and stuff is accurate. There's just some taxonomy stuff that's changed a good bit since then, but it goes over like Androctonus and gives you full.
Oh wow.
rundown of the the chelicerae and the pectins and the telsons and abdomens and things and
Anatomy and such.
Yeah,
Oh, that would make such a cool tattoo, bro.
it would.
Oh, I have so many scientific illustration tattoos in my brain. I just need to do them.
But it's got all the major ones. It's got Androctonus and Parabuthus and Titius and Centauroides, Deathstalkers, obviously.
Hottentotta?
I think so, but it was before they were putting Hottentotta.
Okay.
They were like Buthus or something like that prior to that.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, everything was Buthus in that region.
Yeah. But it's got like your Asian forest scorpions and stuff too. Like it says they're not of medical significance. I guess they're basically saying like compare it to what you're looking at with most normal stuff that won't kill you. Again, it's an older book, but it's a good reference book. If anything, it talks about the envenomations by the various species in each genus and in the different parts of the world and who seems to be affected by it the most. Spoiler alert, it's a lot of children and older people. But then it gives characteristics of severe envenomation broken down by species and stuff too, with symptoms and things like that. So
those tables, good tables.
Talks about anti-venom production, which I'm sure that's changed a lot since 1980. Clinical aspects of scorpion envenomation. So, older book, good book.
Is that a reprint? Because it looks like it's in fantastic shape.
It is. So this the front page says print on demand edition. So I'm wondering if it's the University Press of Mississippi that's the publisher for it. So
nice.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a good book to have. It's nothing crazy. Yeah. It's like if we're talking including index and stuff in the back, it's 140 pages.
Nice.
So it's cool. I read most of it already.
Good.
But I love me some Androctonus.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah.
The bicolor will always have a special place in my heart because that's what Phil sent me for my housewarming.
I wish it was still alive. Okay, my turn.
Next.
So this next book, I bought it a couple years ago. I love going to Barnes & Noble. It's fun. You go, you get a cup of coffee, you walk around, you look at stuff that you wouldn't normally look at. You find stuff that I don't know, stationary Legos.
Around the hentai section.
They have that there?
I don't know, probably.
Oh man, I gotta dig through the mangas. Anyway, I found this book a few years ago. Let me see what the publication date is. It's a relatively recent book, and believe it or not, it was in like I don't want to be insulting and say the mainstream section, but it was not like in herp books, or it wasn't even in like the animal section.
We just got a Books A Million, and the selection there kind of sucks. Like overall,
really,
it's not great. It's a bunch of Harry Potter stuff.
Don't you dare talk bad about my Harry Potter.
I mean, I'm not, but
I get it. Copyright's 2015. Okay. Originally, it was written by Dan Etherly with a foreword by Desmond Morris. This is a two-part pick for me tonight, and I'll explain why. But so I bought this book. It's called Bushmaster, Raymond Ditmars and the Hunt for the World's Largest Viper.
I've seen that one on Amazon a lot, but I've not looked into it.
So
that's a lot bigger than I thought it was. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's
there's a lot of pictures because I'm gonna struggle if there ain't.
There's barely any pictures. There's one section in the middle of some black and white photos of Ditmars back in the day. Oh wait, there's some color. Sorry, I lied. There's some color photos. But there's maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 photos in the dead center of the book. The rest of it is story. So it is not about Bushmasters per se. It's about Raymond Ditmars and his life and his quest for the Bushmaster and how he got his first Bushmaster when he was essentially in high school in his apartment in New York City before he ever worked and became the curator of the zoo. Um, Anybody who doesn't know who Raymond Ditmars is, he is quintessential, in my opinion, a founding father of herpetoculture, a founding father of herpetology. Um, Fantastic man. This is his story through the eyes of the author, who basically became obsessed with the Bushmaster himself, the way that Ditmars did, and eventually went on to going to South America and searching for his own as part of journalism and National Geographic and all this other stuff. I started reading it. I got about a third through, and I put it down just because life. But recently, it's free on Audible. So I would highly recommend people buy the hard copy. I mean, I think it was like, I don't know, $22, $25, something like that.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that much anymore on
Oh
Amazon.
yeah, $16.99 on the back of the book. But again, that was from 2015, or 2018. I don't remember. But it's free on Audible if you have Audible. I started listening to it. The voiceover actor is very articulate.
It should have been you.
But very fast paced, and the cadence in which he reads is a little too rushed for me, if that makes sense. Regardless what speed you listen to it at. I know Rob Stone listens to things at like Mach 5. But the cadence is just a little too forced.
That's another job that seems hard to me, like especially if you're when you're on a good train and then you mess up and you got to start over.
Well, from what I gather, they record it in like individual sentences and splice things together. But they also have most of the real voiceover actors have a first of all, they're in a real studio with like a production team, and they have book experts there that are, explaining what certain words are, how to pronounce them, people's names, all that kind of stuff. So everything is perfect in the recording. But regardless, I started listening to it on my way to work. And I'll probably stop listening to it and go back to actually just reading it, just because, like I said, that actor's cadence was a bit much for me. But he did a great job of capturing Ditmar's passion and the author's enthusiasm and drive and obsession on finding the world's largest pit viper. But yeah, Raymond Ditmar, again, in my opinion, a founding father of herpetology, a founding father of herpetoculturism, essentially keeping 100 venomous snakes in wooden cages in his apartment when he was 17 years old in New York City. Yeah, and, he talks about how he would run down to the north end of the Central Park in Manhattan to see the Snake Man, who had snakes from around the world on display. I mean, this is 1910, but again, a fantastic book. I highly recommend you get a hard copy or a real copy, a physical copy, but it is, again, on Audible if you so desire. So yeah.
I'm still not sure how I feel about the whole audiobook thing. I've tried it in the past, and I don't know. I'm a tangible hard copy guy.
Well, my whole thing is I don't. I'm trying to think if I'm lying right now when I say this. I have not listened to an audiobook that I didn't own a physical copy of. Yeah.
Oh, there's just been a couple, like when I did an Audible account for a while, and there was a handful of books that I started to listen to and stuff, and I don't know. I found if I was working on something else, I wasn't really paying attention to it. Like if I'm cleaning snakes and stuff, I usually have The Office or YouTube on or something I can sort of just put on the background and ignore, and if I miss something, I miss something, whatever.
Yeah.
So I try not to. It's the same thing when I'm actually reading. Like I have to not be doing anything. My phone has to not be on me because I'll start doom scrolling, and I got to have the right environment to really intake the information and retain it.
No, I'm with you in that regard, and that's why I don't listen to podcasts when I clean snake cages, because I'm too focused on the task at hand and I miss the whole podcast. So, but driving to work and listening to this Bushmaster book, you know, I if I miss something or I'm not too keen on it, I have the physical book. I can go home and read it. And I've actually on other books, I've put my headphones on and listened to the audiobook while holding and eye scrolling the physical book at the same time, which I think is really interesting because everyone has a different reading cadence, a different reading speed and tone. And it's always great to have your own mind's eye in that regard, but it is
Yeah.
cool to hear how like it in theory should have been or may have
Mhm.
been. So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
Next,
Oh, good Lord.
use them muscles, boy.
Next, I finally got a copy.
Oh, there it
It's
is.
been mentioned previously, but Diamonds in the Rough, Natural History of the Eastern Diamondback Rattlesnake by Dr. Bruce Means.
I gotta get that, man.
So, for whatever reason, on Amazon says it's like $2,100.
Yeah,
Which is why I never got a copy.
Yeah, that's because some jerk is putting it up there because he's the only guy on Amazon with it.
Well, fun fact, if you go to talltimbers.org, who is the publisher, you can buy it off their website for I think $80 shipped, or you can hit up Bruce Means direct and get a copy from him, and I believe he'll even sign it for you if you wanted to. And I think it's roughly the same price. I think it's a little more, but this thing's just flipping through it. This thing is freaking incredible.
Is it really? Is it all that it's meant to be?
It is everything that it is meant to be. Like when he says it is like 40 years worth of information compiled into a singular source, he means it.
He means it.
He means it.
Oh, dad jokes.
I mean, it covers everything. It covers like seasonality movements. It has charts. It talks about what they're finding in them as far as what they're eating. When it comes to like natural history and stuff on a singular species, I don't know that there's been a book that's been as in-depth and hyper-focused as this has. I mean, chapter 12 is sex ratio, annual range, density, and minimum viable populations.
Wow.
It's the way he's written it, it's in a very digestible way. It's not like some of the chimera stuff that's, like what you've talked about previously, where it's
unreadable,
extremely heavy and technical.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's filled with stuff like this.
Wow.
Charts that show overwintering and population movements and stuff throughout the year, and it's going off population studies that they've done in various areas. I think one of them is St. Simon's Island, which is down in Georgia, sort of past Savannah and stuff. It's got a good bit of pictures showing habitats and animals. It's got notes that he wrote down when he was doing studies.
Is it photographs of the notes?
No, it's like written down like 2nd of August 79.
Oh wow.
In quotes, I caused the snake to move while looking for him. He did not rattle, but crawled right by my foot, moving off uphill to the west.
That's awesome, man. That's literally his life's work.
It's so good, dude. It is so good. And this is one that I'm probably going to start reading this one here soon. This will be the next one I get into because this is what I use. So when I went to Hunting Island a couple weeks ago, after I had gotten this book, because this time of year, this is the time that male diamondbacks are moving because they're looking for girls. And I know that thanks to this book because it tells you when the seasonal movement is highest. It tells you sort of temperature ranges that they're commonly found in. Like basically, if you want information on how and when your best chances are to find diamondbacks, this book's going to have it in there. So I cannot recommend it enough. I feel like $80 for this is a steal.
Does it have the belly scales on the back cover?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
It's got
the diamond on top. That's brilliant. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Let me see. I'll go through I will say, if you order from Tall Timbers, they do not tell you when it ships. I ordered it, and then I think maybe Helene hit, or one of the other tropical storms had hit, and so things got delayed. But I had no idea if it had been shipped. I didn't know if Tall Timbers was like still in business, and they were just still taking PayPal's. Like, didn't know what was going on. So I emailed them, and then of course that same day it had been delivered. And so if you order from them direct, they will get it to you. It's just, you're not going to know when. But the contents, chapter 1 is early history into the 1970s, beginnings, study areas, locating, trapping, and methods, morphology, growth, crypticity, radio telemetry, and close encounters, overwintering, stub holes versus gopher tortoise burrows, flooded tortoise burrows, daily and seasonal activity, thermal biology, sex ratio, annual range, density, and minimum viable population, habitat and geographic distribution, food and prey acquisition, enemies and defensive behavior, combat, courtship and copulation, reproductive biology, birth and early life, snake bite and venom, human impacts, history of southeastern rattlesnake roundups management, synthesis, comparative ecology, and where from here.
Wow, man.
So it's and it was released in 2017, but again, this is to me one of those books that is pretty much a must-have if you've got a bookshelf and you're a quote-unquote collector. This is one that you should have on the shelf.
Very, very cool.
My only complaint is just the size of it, because if I'm in bed and I'm reading, I fall asleep fairly quickly, which means I drop books on my face on a fairly regular basis, and this sucker ain't light. So it would hurt.
It's meant to be read on a desk by candlelight.
Again, he like the way it's written from what I've read so far is it's extremely easy to read. It's understandable, it's digestible, it's good. It's perfect.
Very cool, man. I gotta get a copy. Gotta get a signed one. It's super cool, man. Super cool. Dude, I've been watching people on the West Coast and Snake Friends and Storm pushing Diamondbacks around and finding Diamondbacks, and oh god, I gotta get back out there. I haven't herped in so long, man. It's painful.
Did you see that reel that Rhett Stanberry posted? I don't know if it was today or recently, but it was
the one in the rat trap.
Rat trap.
Oh my god, dude! I had no idea what was in there, and then boom, it's just a friggin' Diamondback.
I wasn't expecting a Diamondback, that's for sure. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a copperhead or something.
Yeah.
No, it's a small Diamondback just chilling, waiting.
Yeah. Oh my god, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Well, next. I'm up next. So the previous book was written about Raymond Ditmars and his quest for the Bushmaster, and the author, who is a journalist, basically went down the rabbit hole of everything that Ditmars did. And I don't remember how many books Ditmars wrote. Excuse me. I want to say like 22 or 27 books, like a lot, ranging everywhere from the 1920s up until I would say probably the 70s. But one book that the author of the Bushmaster book really clung to because of the, how do I phrase this? Tales of Lands of High Adventure. Okay. Which is very much up my alley. Let me rephrase that. The majority of us that are adventure seeking and explorer mindset and just the quest for the grandiose epic adventure, we like to read that stuff. Well, I didn't know this book existed until reading the Bushmaster book and the author speaking about it. And I managed to find a first edition. Before I read the jacket's in fantastic shape for as old as it is. I'll read the publication date. Copyright 1932 by the Macmillan Company. And then, okay, all rights reserved. All right. Thrills. Let me clear my throat for this one. Thrills of a Naturalist's Quest by Raymond Ditmars.
Wow.
So this book is
It has that
a
old book smell, doesn't it?
oh my god, it's glorious.
I don't like
Absolutely.
that. Like
I love that. The musty. Yes. Yes. Oh man. It basically it's stories and tales of his adventures in the quest for herpetoculture and exploring new lands and just epic adventures. There is some black and white photos. Pythons in apartments. My most interesting visit was upon Mademoiselle Olga. The door of a neat and homely apartment was opened by a woman about 40. I told her who I was and explained that Millet Olga had written me inquiring about the boas, saying she wanted one to add to her series of snakes and had been unable to find a good one among the animal dealers. Like, he's literally going door to door in New York City talking to carnies trying to buy snakes for his future zoo. Just absolutely incredible.
See, you should do an audiobook of that because you have the voice for it.
I mean, I would love to, but it would take a very, very long time. And
do it as a podcast, but do it chapter by chapter.
Oh, that's smart. Why would you say that? Ugh, I hate you. Oh God. But the other problem too is some of this stuff is still under publication copyright, and
isn't it for like 100 years?
Yeah, but if they keep reprinting it, I don't know. We'll have to look that up. I think somebody told me about it, and I forgot those.
Because if that's 1930, we only got 6 more years for that suckers.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, 6 more years. Jesus. The preface. A boy around 18 came to my office and asked how he could become a scientist, like your work. He added, I couldn't pin him down to a definitive line of interest. I told him to go back to college, finish his 4 years, then think it over. He'd be ready to begin if he knew just what he wanted. I have watched such boys successfully swing into science, although every one of them indicated. Wow, that's spelled funky. Indicated man, I cannot read tonight. Indicated a speciality by the time he was 21. Some have piled up strange experiences in making the grade. It's a long road and a hard one. My specialty loomed in curious angles while I was serving an apprenticeship in a science institution. Raymond Ditmar. So yeah, super cool. I found this. It's a royally fucked up version with the jacket, but it's the original jacket, and I think I paid $30. So
I want to get Caulfield's. I want to get Caulfield's book, man, but time is not my friend. The longer I wait, all of them. The longer I wait, the harder they're going to be to ascertain.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Next.
I've only got 2 or 3. Next.
Oh, okay. This is going to be the. Give me a second. Because this one weighs about as much as a freaking 10-year-old. Oh, Jesus. No.
Yeah, and I hear you, Jeff. I do. I gotta look more into it, man.
Okay. Either I'm way out of shape, which is entirely possible, or this book is just obscenely massive. But this is another one I got recently that I found out was it's expensive on Amazon, but if you go to the publisher, it's like half the price, like legitimately half price if you order direct. And that is Advances in Coral Snake Biology with an emphasis on South America.
Wow.
And the publisher, which is Eagle Mountain, Louis Porras owns, and he is an author on this. This thing's freaking gigantic. Let me see how many pages we got going on here. 775.
Jesus.
So it's up there with the veterinary book I have in terms of heft.
Mares.
But this one has techniques for photographing coral snakes.
Wow.
I didn't even see that section when I flipped through it. Coral snake envenomations in Brazil. So what it seems like is it's sort of like a compilation of some papers and stuff. But good Lord, does this thing, this is there are parts of this that are very heavy and very, very technical. You know, that especially when we're getting into like the venoms and stuff and the toxins and proteins and stuff involved, it definitely gets pretty sciencey. But Mother of God, if you're into coral snakes, this is the book, because it's also fairly recent in terms of publishing. 22 contributions by 60 authors, 64 tables, 15 appendices, expanded taxonomic key, 499 figures, 100 plus maps, 700 plus photos and illustrations, and 700 plus drawings.
Wow.
It's a lot. This thing was definitely a
what was the publication date?
2021.
Nice.
So it's big. One day I'll tackle it. I don't know how.
That's one of those books where you'll never read the whole thing. You only read certain parts that you want to learn about, you know. And maybe after 20 years, you do wind up reading the whole thing bit by bit, you know.
Well, I was hoping that I'd have some fulvious insight that might help my game.
Yeah, right.
But I love the cover. I love the art of the,
it's so cool
with the coral, and you know.
What species is that?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Does it say on the inside cover?
The bird is a motmots with a Langsdorff's coral snake.
Interesting. I never even heard of that.
Microris langsdorffi.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. There's so many species of coral snake that I've never even heard of and didn't know existed. It's unfreaking believable.
Yeah.
So,
and Jeff, you're right. They are great snapshots of life and keeping in that time. 1000%.
If you go on Eagle Mountain, let me look it up, because on Amazon it's literally like $180 or something. But if you go to Eagle Mountain, it's like $75 plus shipping.
That's good. That's real good.
I can verify in just a second. If you need a workout too, it's a great book for that. If you want to just read and lift weights at the same time.
It's a legit tome, man.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of that word now, I think of that book. So
yeah.
And Eagle Mountain has a lot of awesome. Yeah, $75 on Eagle Mountain publishing.com. And they've got a ton of other herp books on there. So it's not just that one that is on the radar for me. They've got a ton of stuff on there that you need to look into. They've got some Chimera stuff, and
yeah, I think I've got some Chimera stuff from them before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got some of the eco, like professional breeder series books and stuff.
Yeah, I will say this though: when anytime you have eco stuff or Chimera stuff that is out of print, it always behooves you to call the company you're ordering it from to verify they have the book in stock, because several times I've ordered eco books and Chimera books that were out of print, and it says add to cart, and I do it, and then I don't hear anything for a week, so I call and I'm like, hey, what's the story? Oh, it's back ordered and it's out of print, so you're never going to get it. We're refunding you today. So,
like, they've got some that I've never even heard of. They've got one that's Amphibians and Reptiles of Nuevo Leon. which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that's Eco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that just came out last year, year before.
2018.
Oh, 2018. Okay.
Amphibians and Reptiles of Durango.
Yeah, I've wanted that one.
Amphibians and Reptiles of Sierra Tarahumara of Chihuahua, Mexico.
Chihuahua.
Ow! Get the fuck out of here.
Did you just get attacked by your cat?
Yes. Little shit.
I heard that.
What do you want from me?
Your soul.
You can tell when he's freaking amped, dude, because his pupils are gigantic, like a little crackhead. Get away from me.
Giving him bang energy.
I'm not. What do you want? Demon?
Love and affection, Daddy.
I'll tase your ass. They got that new Alterna book, too, that came out last year. Which I still need to get. Don't do it now. God damn it. Jesus.
You're just getting bit by a cat.
Dude, he'd like, fuck you. He just, brat. I'm gonna fuck you up. At least he does it to me, because normally he'll do it to my child in her sleep. He'll just like bite the shit out of her for no reason. She wakes up screaming bloody murder.
Oh, poor girl.
He's a freaking terrorist, dude.
Remember, you don't negotiate with them.
I'm about to negotiate my heel in his face. Drop kick him. They've got a bunch of old reptile and amphibian magazines and Vivarium magazine volumes and issues and stuff. So definitely check it out.
Very cool. Very, very cool, man. Well, I guess I'll go get my last book, which is a tome, and I'm going to bring the other books inside just in case. I will be right back.
Yeah, that was my last one. So, am I bleeding? Fuck off, cat. Jesus. Yeah, another book site, Hamilton. I haven't checked Hamilton in a while, but Hamilton does have some nice cheap books for sale periodically.
Okay, I'm back. So this is my final book. This book has a story to go with it. A long time ago, a very, very long time ago, there was a gentleman by the name of Fitzsimmons in South Africa. Some of you may have heard of him. And he was one of the leading authorities of snakes of Southern Africa. And at the time, this was, I want to say 1950s, maybe. There was I want to say the Transvaal Snake Park. And that at some point was moved and renamed Fitzsimmons Snake Park. And when we had Johan Morer on Venom Exchange Radio, he trained under Fitzsimmons and knew these people. And one of the things that got him into snakes was a book called The Snakes of Southern Africa by Fitzsimmons. And it's very old and no photographs, all color illustrations. And it's just a quintessential piece of African herpetoculture. And I've looked for it for a very long time. And I've passed it over because the jacket was messed up or it was just too expensive. And this past Daytona, the book guy had a copy, first edition, with a reprinted jacket for $250. And I just couldn't swing that. I was like, I know I can find it cheaper. I know I will find it cheaper. And it was me being cheap. Well, maybe, I don't want to say a month later, Hunter Lister messages me and says, "Hey, isn't this the book you're looking for on an auction site?" And sure as hell, it was the book. And the opening bid of the auction was $40. And I was like, okay. So I signed up for the auction site because you can't bid unless you're a member. Signed up for the auction site and I bid. And it was like 3 days or 4 days. Hold on one second. Sorry, just moving stuff around. So I bid $40. Days go by, no one bids. Finally, it's down to the last like 8 minutes of the bid. I'm at work, watching it at work, and someone bids $50. I was like, oh, so it's going to be like that now, right?
Here we go.
So me and this one other person who apparently had auto bid on jumps it up and jumps up and jumps up and jumps up, and then finally I'm the winning bid at like $98. Okay. And that's when I realized that this is one of those websites where every time you're outbid, it adds 4 minutes to the clock.
Oh.
So in theory, it could go forever.
Right.
At the same time, I realized this is in South Africa. And it's using an automatic converter because it knows my IP address is in US dollars. So I went up going up to like $130 at a half an hour after the auction had quote unquote ended. And I gave up, and it would not shock me if this was the owner of the book just jacking it up. You know what I mean? Just bidding on himself, so to speak. Well, that whole thing happened. And later that day, Nipper texted me and said, hey, aren't you looking for this book? And I said, yeah, I just was bidding on it and I lost, and it's very expensive. He goes, okay, good, because I just bought it for you. And he did not pay nearly what.
Oh, so it wasn't like you weren't bidding against Nipper. And
no.
Sorry,
I should have specified that. No, he bought it from a local friend in London. And now I finally have, I got to eat my Wheaties. Snakes of Southern Africa, Vivian F.M. Fitzsimmons.
Wow. What was the publishing date on that?
So I think this is a old reprint. I don't know if it's actually first. Hold on. I'm trying not to fuck the jacket up while I talk to you. Hold on. And yes, it has the smell.
Like the book section in a Goodwill.
1962. Wow. And it's a first edition. So, I mean, I don't know how I'm going to hold this up to the screen because the jacket's all flip-flopped, but let me try and find a species worth showing. Hang on. Oh my God. Hold on. Oh, it's falling apart. Everything's falling apart. Oh my God. It legit smells like a library. It's amazing. Meanwhile, in that auction, I actually won 2 other books. And shipping from South Africa for like 5 pounds of books cost me like $26. Okay.
Really?
For Nipper to send me this book cost, and like I think one other little smaller South African book cost him like 30 quid. Okay. For me to send 7 pounds of books to Nipper, $120.
Sounds about right.
So I do like in this that most of the scientific has not changed since 1962, but there is a lot of stuff that's old taxa, but it has all of the head drawings and range. The range maps are pixelations. Let me see if I can show this without fucking this up. Oh my God.
Wow.
And apparently these are sightings and or reports from that specific area on the map. But it also has the famous head drawings, which I love ever so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to slowly go through this very carefully. I'm trying not to fuck the jacket up more than it already is.
I wonder what the standard like protocol is for a lot of those older libraries for preserving books like that. Like, could you vacuum seal it in a bag and not hurt it?
Yeah, I think vacuum sealing it would be great.
So I would worry long term with vacuum sealing that the pages, because of the moisture, would eventually start to kind of stick together. And
well, I mean, if they're vacuum sealed, there is no moisture.
I mean, from like what's in the pages and stuff already.
Yeah, I guess you get a point. Oh, just look how big it is. I love it.
I have some that it's like I want to preserve them so that when I'm old and they're not in print anymore, like I still have them and they're not falling apart.
Well, from what I've gathered, from people that collect legitimately old books, you know, talking everything from 100 years to 500-year-old books, or if not older, the worst thing that you can do with a book is store it on its spine or on its opening. Does that make sense?
Not standing upright like you normally do on a shelf.
Right. So standing upright on a shelf is great. However, if it's not being pressed by other books, then the binding and the glue and the stitching will slowly start to come undone over the years, which is so important why we should use bookends. So if you have books on a shelf and you know you've got them leaned to one side and it's only half the shelf, and like you know how you tilt one little at an angle to kind of keep the rest from falling over, that's horrible. That just destroys books. You really should use a proper bookend to keep the tight pressure on it. Excuse me. However, storing books flat on their back is perfectly fine as long as they're all the same size and weight. If you have a book that is not the same size and weight, it will slowly start to smush out the sides like an overstuffed Oreo. And that's when, again, you'll get page deformity. You'll get the binding to get all discombobulated, and the binding will start to unglue or start to unstitch, and you get issues that way. So, but keeping them on a bookshelf with a bookend is the proper way.
So I just messed up because I just had some tar coming out of the end of this. And I should have shown you before I clipped it. But basically you get this like brown liquid that starts coming out of the end.
Right.
And if you ever want to get rid of that, because it tastes terrible. Like if you get that stuff on your tongue, it is god awful. It's the worst. Just take your cutter and cut it again. And that usually opens it up and fixes it.
Yeah, I've taken a cocktail napkin and just dabbed it.
Yeah, I just cut it again. Just open it up a little more.
Yeah, if you get it on your lip and you don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's like the little brown pieces in pecans.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff that comes in that tastes just bitter and gross.
Yep.
Just store those heavy books on top of your 10-gallon aquarium with screen lids, folks. Keep them flat, of course. Don't be a heathen.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks.
That's how I kept a lot of my corns and kings in their tanks back in the day. I had the Mertens book because that was like the one. Ain't nothing moving that.
Yeah. And again, shout out to Hunter Lister. I know he's in the group chat. Swell fella. He put me onto it, and I can't thank you enough, man. Even though we didn't win that auction, we got the book, and that's all that matters, man. I thank you so much for that.
You remember what site it was? Did they have other Hurt books and stuff on there that you could?
Oh, dude, there was so much stuff, but it's an auction that uses lots. So I don't know if they excuse me, I don't know if they do it once a month or once every other month, but like there was everything. And this was, I think, lot number 197 or something. And there was like 1,500 lots that week or whatever.
Jesus.
So yeah. But if I'll look at my email and see if I can find it, because I definitely will get more stuff from the future. And the other books I bought that came from a different vendor, everything was cool. They had like a good rating, and he emailed me and was like, "Hey, I see you're in the United States. Shipping's going to be a couple bucks more." And I was like, "That's totally understandable. I totally get that." I said, "If you need me to pay any, weird taxes and stuff," he's like, No, don't worry about all that. He says, "I'll pay that." I said, "Okay, cool." That was it. So, and I got the books from South Africa in like 8 days. Crazy. Meanwhile, I don't even know when Nippert's going to get the books I sent him. Fucking USPS.
They do what they want. We're at the mercy of them all the time.
Yeah, I have a FedEx account for work, and we get a cheaper rate because of the volume of stuff we ship from FedEx. And it would have cost me $153 to send the same package to Nipper, and it cost me I think $110 from USPS.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing because our buddy Fadi up in Canada,
Yeah,
we've been talking about getting some Fulvius stuff up there.
cool.
And I looked at shipping a box like the standard size that I normally ship to Minnesota for Twin Cities orders, which is typically like 27 pounds, and I forget the box dimensions, and it's typically $20 to $25 to ship that from here to Minnesota. But to ship to Canada is a different thing. So I looked it up on my UPS account, and it was going to be something ridiculous like $200 to ship a box.
Wow.
Similar size and weight. But then I go to work, and it's like $50. So
jeez,
I'm going to talk to him about that tomorrow. Because he wants to get some of it up there to sell at some of the shows and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And I feel bad because I had someone email me a week or two ago, and they were in Germany, and they were like, I want to buy some shirts. And I was like, I don't do international shipping unless it's Canada anymore, just because every time that I've had to ship international, I got some sort of complaint about someone having to pay for the taxes and duties of when it came in, as if that's somehow supposed to be my responsibility. And it just got to the point where I was like, I'm not dealing with it anymore. Like, I don't get that many orders. And if that's going to be the case, every time someone has to pay to get their package from whatever carrier they use in their country, like, I don't know that. I don't know how those things work. I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah.
I just got a package back that went to, I think, Belgium.
You just got it back?
Just got it back. I sent it in April.
Wow.
And they refused it because they were like, they want to charge me. It was something like,
the customer refused it, not the Belgian government.
Yeah, the customer refused it because they had to pay like $30 to get it from their carrier or something upon arrival. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I refunded them for the shirts, but I was like, I'm not refunding you for the shipping because it's like that's
gone.
Crap.
It's done. Yeah.
So
yeah, why should you eat that?
Happened multiple times like that. And I talked to Trey, I talked to other people as far as shipping goes. I'm like, is it normal for people to have to pay this stuff when it arrives in their country? And they're like, yeah. So I'm like, why are these people surprised? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but
I'm sure it has something to do with the modern era and people just assuming that everything is incorporated in the online transaction, you know? I mean, that is kind of a racket for you to go pick up your package and have to, pay the VIG, so to speak.
Yeah. Because I had someone in France, like the very first one of the first international orders I had went to France, and it was the same thing. They're like, the postal carrier wants me to pay $20 to get my package.
So pay it. It's $20.
Okay. And I don't know. Like, I'm not paying the taxes of your country and mine. Like, my country already taxes the shit out of me. Like, I don't need to be getting double pennied by two.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I get that.
So I just stopped dealing with it. Like, Canada, I don't have any issues. Canada, it's whatever. No big deal. But
I'm waiting for you to make a Canada silhouette with a maple leaf in the middle and like a fox snake going through it.
Well, that'd be pretty cool.
Or a garter or something.
Anything over $50, you have to pay import tax up here in Canada, I do believe. Yeah, and I need to look into that too, because if I'm sending Fadi, a big box of shirts and stuff, I don't know. I need to talk to work about it because they ship kazoos internationally all the time. So surely they know what's up and they know what's going on.
Yeah.
I would just, if we can have a way to get them up there on a, semi-regular basis, even if it's only once or twice a year that an order gets placed and sent up there, then so be it. But Fadi thinks they'd sell really well up there. So
cool.
We're gonna do our best to make it happen.
Excellent.
And avoid UPS. Why? Is it because of all the snow? And the bears?
The moose.
The moosin?
The moose.
Meese?
All right, I'm going to take my tome inside. Excuse me.
Oh, dude, my leg hurts. Hector got me good. Where are you, Hector? You little shit. Freaking demon. What do you mean hopefully soon, Sean? Snow's fun for a day. Are you one of those weirdos that likes to get snowed in for weeks at a time and get cabin fever and go insane? Because I feel like I do that even when it doesn't snow sometimes. I don't get out of the house enough.
What'd I miss?
I asked Sean if it was because of snow, and he said no snow yet, but hopefully soon.
Hopefully. Oof.
Like, yeah, that's like the most Canadian thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, right. I just imagine him just sitting on his porch in shorts and flip flops with a Molson, like, this is the right time of year.
Dressed like Cousin Eddie.
Sorry, Sean. So yeah, I think this was a good book club episode.
Winter isn't the same without snow. I beg to differ. You miss Smitty's existential crisis. Because I was like, Sean, are you one of those types that likes to get snowed in for weeks at a time and then slowly go insane because you get cabin fever? I was like, because I get that sometimes even without snow. I don't leave the house enough.
Nice.
That's what the cigar shop's for. I will say, cigar shops and lounges are a great get out of the house to go do something but not have to do anything kind of thing. If that makes sense. Like if I just want to get out of the house, but I don't feel like going across town or I don't have anything in particular I need to go get or do, just go to the shop, mess with Tony.
That's what I do. That's what I do with Underground, man. It doesn't, I used to spend a lot of time there, man. And now I don't because of work and they close an hour early now. But dude, there was a time when I would go there at, 4 p.m. and just to get my feeders and then leave at 6, just hang out and BS and see what came in and,
Are you getting anything new at all?
No, man, no. I'm going to focus on what I got, keep building enclosures little by little. And I do mean little by little. And if I can produce some stuff, great. If I don't produce anything, it's fine. I got what I got right now. So
what about the rinks?
I was going to put them together, but I said, you know what? Let me just leave them be. It's not the right time of year. I want it to get colder. I decided I'm not going to actually cool them. I'm going to just put them together at the right time when the temperatures dropped what I perceive it to have dropped. And if it doesn't work, then we know next year I got to get an actual cooler, because I have a wine cooler right now that gets down low enough. It gets to like 50, but I really want to know if it needs to be that, because looking at the temperatures in the region, I mean, granted, these are the ones I'd be pairing are KwaZulu-Natal locality, and it does get real cold. I mean, we have pictures. Tyrone Ping's got pictures of them basking on ice sheets. But I don't know if I need to. So I'm gonna try to do it without this year and see where we go.
What do you do when you produce more, like with Florida? Like, do you have to send them an updated list of what you have like immediately, or is there like a certain time, like?
No, you have to like a reporting period. And my reporting, I usually, I'll be honest, between you and me and everyone who listens to this, I rarely report because I don't get anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? So my guy's cool. He's like, look, if you have X, Y, and Z, you report it. If nothing changes, then when you renew, you say nothing changed. I don't have deaths. I don't have births. I don't have acquisitions.
Right.
So hopefully this year changes some of that. And I'll be pairing Cerastes in April.
Nice.
And I don't know if I'm going to put the pygmies together just because I think they're ready, but I don't know if I want to deal with that this year. I just got a lot on my plate, man.
Yeah, you got to kind of pick and choose your battles.
Yeah. And especially if I'm going to if I'm gonna try and maybe do sub-ox, and let's assume I do get a good clutch of them, I don't want to deal with that many babies, man. You know what I mean? Especially
They don't have
pygmies.
that big of clutches.
What, sub-ox or pygmies?
Oh, you mean like in addition to?
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
deal with, you
yeah.
know, even if it's like 5 or 6 little pygmies, like that's work, man. I don't want to. I can't do it.
You can just send them to me, and I'll do. I'll have the headache.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
headache I'll take.
I honestly, I might do that. I might do that. Just you can't back out.
Well,
I'm literally just like mailing you a box of pygmies.
there's some
Can't back out.
logistics we have to work out there.
Side note, I also have Trace Pecos copperheads in the same cage. So I'm not gonna try shit with them. Keller gave me the recipe, and I'm gonna try and stick to that best I can. And I think if they're good, they're good. So we'll see.
Dude, those little house snakes I got are so freaking cool.
Oh, how they doing?
They're doing good. I had both of them came from Dustin Black. I think one of them maybe had taken one meal with him before I got it, and the other one hadn't yet. But the one that's had like a solid 3 or 4 meals, the size difference just within like 2 meals of that between the two was insane. Like the amount of growth that one had just from having like being 2 meals ahead, 3 meals ahead of the other one, the non-starter, was unbelievable.
Nice.
And, I finally got the other one to take. I did a boiled pink, and it snatched that up no problem. I tried live a couple times, and it was terrified of it. And I tried drop feeding frozen thaw, and it was like, nah. So I just tried a boiled before I caught one of these turkey kiss geckos that I'm watching run around my garage to scent with. But it took boiled, and I talked to our buddy Jade. He's in Texas, but he's South African, and he's had his fair share of house snakes and stuff. And I asked him, I was like, dude, this thing's tiny. Like even a day old pinky is a big meal for that thing. And he was like, dude, you'd be amazed at the size of a meal that these things can take. He's like, you'll look at it and you'll think there's no way in hell that thing's taking that thing down. I swear to God, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. Like the first time I got the one that started strong to take a pinky, I was like, it looked like it was about to tear, like the skin was about to just freaking pop. I mean, just, and then when they move, they struggle because they got so much. It's uncomfortable to watch, and so anytime I feed them, I try to leave them alone like immediately because I don't want them to have to move a lot and puke it back up. That's cool, man.
That's cool.
But oh my God, he was not kidding. He's like, you don't think they can take it, but he's like, they believe me, they can, and it's unbelievable.
I just sent him. He texted me about venomous storage containers, and I just sent him links to Amazon for Rubbermaid trash cans. So the boy's on the right way, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And Jeff said when he bred house snakes, they eat like pythons. I will say, like, that's what I've heard a lot of people tell me, was that they're the most python-like colubrid they've ever had. And after having these for the last couple weeks, like, I fully agree with that. Like, they are the most non-colubrid I think I've ever had. Like, they're just so different, you know. It's strange, but man, those things are cool. Like I open up the little, because Jade also told me to keep them in Sistema boxes, something gaskety that locks, because he's like, they're like rhinos. If they can get out of it, they'll figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
So and they were so small, and I was like, I'll keep them in something like that until I get a little more size on them. But every time I take those things out, dude, I just got to stare at them for a few minutes because it's just they're so cool.
Nice.
And I'm still not even 100% sure on the sex of these ones yet either. I think Dustin said he thought they were a pair, but he wasn't 100% sure. But I haven't really messed with them a whole lot. I'm just making sure they're getting some meals in them before I really start doing anything. And Jade also told me, he's like, you know, you can try popping them, but sometimes it doesn't work as well with those for some reason, but he was like, if you take a picture of the tail and then you do a scale count, it's usually a pretty good indicator of males and females and the scale count difference. Which when they're that tiny, it's like the lighting's got to be really good and that picture's got to be really clear because that's they're small, dude. They're tiny.
Interesting. How's the Sambos?
They're doing good too. So the adult male, I have yet to have take a meal.
Okay.
And I got him towards like the beginning of the year. But he's not losing any weight at all. He's completely normal. He doesn't want food. I've tried live of multiple different sizes. I tried drop feeding, frozen thawed rat pinks, mouse fuzzies, like smaller stuff. Doesn't seem to want anything to do with any of it. The babies, they're rocking and rolling. I can drop feed them or feed them live, and it's gone overnight.
Cool.
So they're all moving. The male out of the babies, he's starting to seems like he's getting a little finicky with food now too. So I don't know. He may have also been in a shed cycle when I tried to feed him last because he didn't take, which was unusual. So we'll see. But I've noticed, like with one of my female rhinos, the female I got from Kasicki, she will not touch rats. Like if it's a rat pup, rat pink, live or frozen, she won't touch it. But if I give her like a frozen thawed mouse, she's all over it. Like doesn't hesitate whatsoever. But for some reason, if it's a rat, all she does is strike at it and try to run away and get all huffy and puffy. And it's so funny because they're all so different, man. Because all the other ones, like they're completely equal opportunity. They don't care if it's a mouse or a rat. They're gonna eat, you know. But that female in particular, she's like, if it's a rat, she wants nothing to do with it.
Interesting. I'm actually just talking about putting stuff together and everything else that's going on. You know, I was debating putting silver subox together this year, and because I got that proven breeder adult female, and she's everything you'd expect from an adult suboc. And the one snake that I wanted to raise up and pair to her, I thought it was a girl for the longest time, and I won't even say I popped it. I mean, I just moved its tail and I got a hemipene. So then I actually popped it, and sure as hell, it is a boy. And I'm looking back through photos to try and find birthday or birth month pictures to see if he's old enough. But I'm kind of afraid because, I mean, we always know girls are always bigger. You know what I mean? You put in a 3-foot python with a 10-foot python. That's how you make more pythons. Like, I totally get that. But I don't know if that's the case with them. So if anybody who's listening has actually bred subox before, let me know the size ratio or the smallest male that you've used. Because he's honestly, he could take a hopper, but I feed him fuzzies just to be safe, just because of the fur and all that crap that they go through. The girl could easily take a rat crawler or even a small rat if I really wanted to. So, I mean, he's probably the diameter of a finger, you know, like an index finger or a ring finger. I know it doesn't give much to scale. Some of our listeners with their banana hands, you know who we're talking to. But yeah, I just wonder if he would even try, you know. Did
you ask Gillen about the Wild Rose Pass ones?
Yeah, but they were
those. I mean,
yeah, but his male that he just did is 5 times the size of my male.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, and my female is probably the same size as his female. So that's the kicker. It's like the age is going to be right. I know it is, but the size is just oof. It's highly contrasting. But I don't know. I'll find it and go from there. And I'm probably just overthinking everything in my own head like I always do, you know.
I mean, worst case, you try him and he doesn't get the job done.
Yeah, it's true. You know? It's very true.
Very true. Black said those house snakes were a week old when I got him, and he hadn't put his for sale. But I knew what I was getting into when he warned me, which I did. He was like, they're not really established yet, but if you want to try them out. And I said, absolutely. Because I'd never had house snakes. They're something
fun,
I
man.
had wanted for a really, really, really long time, like 20 years.
Yeah.
Just never got. So
Yeah, they're fun, man.
I love them. These are the albinos too.
Nice. Well, is there anything else you want to touch base on tonight, brother?
R.I.P. deformed baby corn snake.
R.I.P. baby corn snake.
It was adorably deformed.
Sorry to hear that.
But it had to go. It had to happen. If I had more of my drink, I'd pour it on the ground for him right now. But one for me and one for my homies.
One for my homies.
Yeah, Frederick said house snakes will legit triple clutch. It sounds like that's what Jade was telling me. Is he's like they don't stop laying eggs. They keep coming. I think it's T positive. Maybe. I think it's positive. I honestly am not 100% sure. I'm like 40% sure.
Your mom's T positive.
Whoa. This episode was brought to you by blackboxcages.com. Facebook, Instagram. Follow them. Get a rack, get a cage. Use code THN24. Get a discount. Save on shipping even more. Choose the pickup option. If you're near North Georgia, drive on up there and grab your stuff. You can have it sort of pre-made and ready to go, so you can get it home, set it up, get your animals in it, and enjoy for the rest of your life, for eternity. Their stuff will outlive you. FulviusApparel.com. Use the code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is the exclusive promo code for THN listeners and viewers like you. Hats, shirts, mugs, bookmarks, hoodies. Again, if you have not entered into the giveaway, I am drawing tomorrow. It is October 7th, so I'm drawing tomorrow night, October 8th. If you go to the Facebook page and or the Instagram page and see the post for entry details, go do that. And then coldbloodedcaffeine.com, the best coffee money can buy. We recommend the Snakes and Stogies blend, but we are partial. We are biased.
Very biased.
Anything you get from them, you will enjoy. They don't make bad coffee. A bad blend doesn't exist, especially with Trey and the gang. So, Velcro patches soon. I don't know what I got to figure out the logistics of that and how to add Velcro that'll stay adhered permanently to the actual patch itself and not have to worry about them separating.
Well, it's like it's stitched around the border of the patch and then glued in the middle. That's how all of them are done.
It depends on if I can find them and they're not crazy expensive, then maybe I'll give it a shot. I do have to make some more though. I have plenty of blank hats. I just got to get patches on them. So that might be a weekend project. We'll see. It depends on what the storm does and how things are looking towards the end of the week. But
yeah.
Everyone stay safe.
Stay dry.
Stay dry. Godspeed. If you're in Florida, old Milton's coming for you.
Yes, sir.
Florida's ready. Florida's always ready.
We're trying, man. We're trying. PSA, anybody who's in Milton's path, don't wait or hesitate to bag your stuff. You know what I mean? Just deli cups, bag it up. If you got to throw it in a backpack or throw it in a cooler and put it in a different room of the house, just do it. Get it done.
If they're in a bag for a day or two,
Yeah.
prior, they'll be okay.
Yeah. If you're evacuating an area, even if you're evacuating last minute, throw them in a pillowcase, zip tie that sucker, throw it in your backpack, and take them with you. You can figure out the cage when you come back.
We still need to make that checklist we talked about.
I know. Well, maybe we'll do that next week, depending on if Florida's still here.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
I believe we're going to be back for THP on Thursday. So keep an eye out for that.
Cool.
And we will see everyone later.
Bye.